You guys are good? You guys are good? Let's call to order the Monday, February 27th regular meeting of Municipal Council here at the South, our temporary home here at the South Edwardsburg Community Center in Johnstown. We have a couple of folks making delegations tonight. I just wanted to welcome them before we move along. Mr. Simon Moreau from Rideau St. Lawrence Distributions. Randy Stead as well. Are you here with? Yes, okay, with that as well. Online we have Mr. Craig McMillan and Richard as well. Welcome, guys, for the LCBO markup and wine levy discussion following the Rideau St. Lawrence Distribution. Just wanted to say welcome to both of you and thank you for being here. And welcome to the members of or the residents in the audience as well. Okay, I guess the next item up would be the approval of the agenda. And I believe the DM, you have, Deputy Mayor Dillabaugh, you have that motion.
So I do. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself and seconded by Joe Martel that the council approves the agenda as presented.
Right, there's no changes or any additions or off the agenda here. Nothing. Call the question. All in favor? Good. Moving on to disclosures of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. Does anyone have any disclosures to make tonight? None. I will again welcome Mr. Wu and Randy for Mr. Stitt, sorry, for the delegation for Rideau St. Lawrence.
Thank you very much. We kick off this presentation by sharing this.
Oh, Mr. Wu, I forgot to mention that delegations are roughly 10 minutes. Try to keep them to the 10-minute timeline. Sure. The committee has a little bit of time afterwards to ask a few questions if they would.
Sure. Okay. That sounds great.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks for the opportunity. It's a pleasure to be invited to talk about Rideau St. Lawrence Distribution with everybody. Really appreciate the time. So I'm going to kick off by going through what I plan to cover. Let's scroll down. You see, scrolling down. That's it. You guys seeing that?
Yep, absolutely. Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to cover the background, the corporate structure, the business that we operate, the performance for the last 20 or so years, and then the benefits of having a local utility. And at the end, definitely want questions and comments from all of you. All right, so we operate our business in 6 beautiful communities in Eastern Ontario. You can see them listed on the screen here. We got from Williamsburg, Morrisburg, Iroquois, to Cardinal here, to Prescott and Westford. Now these reside in 4 municipalities. And back then, about 20 years ago, around year 2000, these were founded by the founders, and they joined together to retain the local utilities and selling off out of the one which a lot of communities did back in the day. And this utility has been great. Our vision is to enable vibrant communities, to provide stable electricity and innovative services to deliver secure value to the communities that we serve. You can see within the circle, we have 4 businesses that we've been operating for the last 22 years with different values, with 95% of our business being the electric business. We also have a wastewater business that we provide for the municipalities. We also provide hot water tanks rentals for residents of these municipalities. And then we have a small business of our pilot. Now, the 3 dotted lines are what we're extending to do. So we're trying to get into some consulting business within our industry, get back into the streetlight business, which we were into once back in the day. And then we also would like to get into a little bit of the EV charger business that is an emergency technology in the area. So, and I'll talk a little bit about all these businesses so you guys have a background on where we're at. So next I want to cover is corporate structure. We're owned by 5 different entities. 4 of them are municipalities. The township of Edwardsburg Cardinal owns about 12% of the corporation. The one entity that is not a municipality is Fortis Ontario. So back in the day, when the corporation was formed, they were brought in as an investor, and they're a utility company, and they do Niagara, Gananoque, they have some in Cornwall, and they have a lot of expertise. So whenever we need distribution expertise of the transformer design, the board member there, Chief Han, can provide us with that. You can see the directors that are listed there. Our holdings company is broken down into 3 distinct corporations. Our electrical distribution, with 95% of revenues, are under Rios Inland Distribution. This group has a different board member constituency. It's got Mary Jean McFall, Jihan, and Scott Price. The reason for that is that the Ontario Energy Board, which we're regulated under, requires that 33% of our board members are independent, so they kind of represent the bunch. And then Jihan and Scott Price were assigned. Now, under Rios and Northern Utilities and Rios and Northern Services is the exact same board member. So in function, we really operate as one board. Most of the stuff that happens on the board, but we do keep separately in each other as that we Now, the businesses that are listed here are, because we're in the Ontario Energy Board, we have an affiliate relationship code. And so what that means is that all these businesses and the services that it provides each other, we have to keep a very strict accounting practices so that we don't disadvantage the electrical resident that's using electricity. So for example, if we're subsidizing electricity or we're subsidizing the other services with electricity fees, that would be against the affiliate relationship code. There's about something that we do it here to be very stringent. The next slide here is the board of directors, and we keep a strong profile of the skills of the board of directors that are assigned. And we want the board of directors to be skilled in order to govern great utility for us, right? We want to maintain strong profitability, and we want to maintain strong dividends for everybody. Now, annually, it is appointed at the AGM, the board of directors. Now, of course, at any time, the municipality can choose to change and adjust, just like we have sit on, and we're able to update the skills onto the board matrix. Now, we check this, we continue to develop this over time. The next slide I want to cover is getting into our businesses. So on the screen, what I have displayed is a sample utility bill for residentials. So there's 2 types of billing that we do under in Ontario. Is one's called time of use and one's called tier. And you might have familiar with that with your own. There's 2 options that you can choose, and you can go back and forth. Under the Ontario Energy Board, we don't make any margins off of the kilowatt hour usage of any homes. Okay, so the kilowatt hour usage on any distributor across Ontario is going to be the same. So if you go out, you little, that doesn't change how much profit or margin that we make as we deliver. What we make money from is the delivery fee, and that's highlighted in red there on the screen. Now, the Ontario Energy Board every year around April time does a comparison of all the utilities across Ontario and how much delivery fees that we charge across the province. Now, what I compared us against are embedded, so we're surrounded by is federal Ontario. All our 6 municipalities surrounded by the one. And what I've listed on there is the 2022 posting of the rates in April. And so the comparison of Rios and Northern Distribution delivery fee that $20.59 for the Title 1 distribution fee at $49.04. And so over the course of the year, and the resident will have savings of about $270, being a resident of Rios and Northern territorial services. Okay, so that's one of the great advantages of having Rios and Northern as a distributor. In our water and wastewater businesses, we provide 5 different categories of services. So we do billings collections, we do customer service, we do meter reading, smart meter backbone, and contract. And Edwardsburg Cardinal, we do all of them. So so most of the Cardinal, well, all of Cardinal is on smart meter backbone, which is where we have a line module that can talk to our hydrometer, which is smart meter, and we collect all that data of the mobile, which is great. Westford, we do some meter reading because it's not under the same Rideau St. Lawrence smart meter. So so we do have our meter readers put out there for the key customers of Westford. Now the great thing about water and wastewater services being under Rideau St. Lawrence is that they can ride on a lot of the same costs as the hydro. So for example, we put them on the same bill, same envelope, same postage, same stock commission. So all these are going to be shared costs, which lower the cost for all the residents that use water, wastewater, together. And that's a great advantage of having a local utility. The next business that I want to cover is our hot water tank rental. We used to operate this in all 4 municipalities, but over the last few years, we've stopped offering hot water tanks to Westport. Westport water is hard, and so the life of the tank was lasting the expected life, and we're servicing more, and it wasn't really going to be profitable for us, and it wasn't really great for the residents. So we stopped creating new contracts for them. But for along the St. Lawrence, we do still provide hot water tanks. And this is a service that we've done for quite many years. We do annually compare with competitors, such as Reliance, and our costs are much below their costs. We only do electrical tanks, so we're not doing gas water tanks for the residents. Okay, so that's the business that we have. The smaller business that we have is the dark fiber business, and we provide dark fiber for 2 customers. One of them being the municipality here, the other is Christabel. And the dark fiber is just basically 5 optic lines that were entrenched out today between 2 locations where we can talk up through the net. So that's a steady business, ongoing business, but not much opportunity to expand. Just ongoing legacy business. The 3 new businesses that we're looking to get into are one, consulting. So we started that last year and getting into this year. So we have a customer information system, and we provide help and services for other LDC, which is local distribution companies, to provide them service those services. The next one being streetlights. About 5 to 7 years ago, we used to be in that business. But with the regulation change on ESA, we required a master electrician. We got out of that business. Now we're coming back up a power line technician to become a master electrician, so we can get back in that business. And we have some customers, such as different various municipalities around us that would be interested. And for EV chargers, we're looking to get into that for residential customers, much like hot water tanks. So we would install a EV charger, and then we rent it out to them all the time. For the benefit of the community. Okay, so right now we're looking for a electrical partner. So this would be an electrician that does residential housing, and so having a partnership that can install this. We don't have any skilled electrician, local residential electrician trades. So that's something that we're working on right now. Next, I want to get into some of the performance. So in Rideau St. Lawrence, we have 2 municipalities that have promissory notes with us, and Edwardsburg Cardinal is one of them. So Edwardsburg Cardinal has $225,000 that's with us, and every year generates interest. Okay, so the total accumulated interest of the municipalities that have had money with Rideau St. Lawrence over the last 20 years have been over $1 million. Edwardsburg Cardinal's portion is just over $200,000. Annually, it's been generating around $8,000. And these get reviewed by the board on that basis, but they review that. They continue to manage that. Separate to that, annually, Rideau St. Lawrence provides dividends. So the total accumulated dividends of all the municipalities have been around $4.6 million with sorry, that's net income, with dividends being $2.4 million. Generally, we only keep some, retain some for working capital purposes, but everything else do we have as dividends. Over the last year, it's been around $160,000 for the municipalities. Every year, other than the year 2020, and every year, we can do that dividends. So the cumulative amounts over the years of dividends for Edwardsburg Cardinal has been $290,000. Annually, it's roughly $90,000. And I want to finish off by summarizing the benefits of having a locally owned utility. So the first is, I like to say, we're more responsive. The folks have come and build around here and that want to develop. They have direct access to myself or Darrell, who is our operations manager. We're a phone call away, email away with a new present on site. Some of the larger distributors who are a lot of steps to get into somebody a lot of red tape, right? So that's one benefit. Second is with better service. So we have this provide present service in Prescott. We do have a service also in Morrisburg, as well as Westport. And we're looking to continue that and develop that face-to-face interaction with folks. We're more efficient, we have lower fees for our customers, and we can also benefit with our affiliate businesses, water with water, and mill, same customer service, same stocking equipment, and it benefits the local economy. We have a local board, local staff, spend locally, and really a win-win for both the municipality, for the residents, and for legal supports. That concludes my presentation. Let's take any questions or comments.
Awesome, thank you, Simon, for your presentation. It's a good education for the new folks. Some may already know about the system and how it operates, and but I think what we'll do is I'll open it for questions first to the committee members. Okay, for the council members. So,
I have a question for you, just out of curiosity. How do you end up, if you want to take over another company like for community, like Johnstown or Spencerville? We're in Evergreen Cardinal, but we pay Ontario Hydro. So if Zero Single Orange Hydro wanted to maintain, they buy that from Ontario Hydro, or how do you, like, how can you expand your municipality?
So it's very limited. So there's a lot of mergers together, but not a lot of sales, I would say, within the industry. So over the last 20 years, the industry's gone from around 200 local distributors to around 50 some odd that's there now. And a lot of them have been merging together. So you hear that about Brampton and that area, or recently Kitchener, a lot of them, they have it merged together. There's some of that going on. But opportunities in order to acquire others for LDC like ourselves is going to be very difficult to acquire. And Hydro One does not want to give up any territory. Sometimes there are opportunities come out where we can provide service cheaper. So some areas, such as the surrounding areas of our borders, if there's some residential developments, for example, we can request Hydro One, and there's a process where we can justify where our distribution may be cheaper and cheaper for us to put poles in, to closer to develop. And there was one example this summer that we began some discussions. I think it was just on the west side of Anthony Road. There's a developer that was inquiring and talking to us about that. And I gave them as much information as I can. You can call me at any time, and he started pursuing it. And so I haven't heard from him in the last couple of months, but in the summertime it was much more active. So there are processes where we start the discussion with everyone to discuss the process. Thank you.
Good. Councilor?
I mean, I think Councilor Snail sort of asked a question that was on my mind as well a little bit, in that, you know, I've seen people have to pay exorbitant rates to get poles put in, for instance, and things like that. Is there an opportunity there? So I think you've answered that. So I appreciate that. You know, because I think it's something that we struggle with around here for sure. I mean, you know, I know of somebody who needed, you know, less than a kilometer, or half a kilometer of poles, and it was, you know, in the hundreds of thousands of dollars to get that done. It just seemed wrong. But anyways, but I think it limits our capabilities for building a community, to be honest. So
So just regarding that, so there's a little bit of difference about distribution and putting poles. So if individuals that you know are wanting to put in poles and are interested to get their own poles put in, they can have a comparison between what the quote that they're getting kind of on. We're also happy to call out if there is an opportunity there. We can't distribute to them, but definitely we can provide a quote for certain poles, and oftentimes our quotes are much more competitive than the kind of one. And so there's some nuances there, distribution versus pole construction.
I appreciate that. I bet they wish they'd known that earlier. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and the other one was you answered it nicely, but I thought it was very ominous. The dark fiber, but it wasn't as ominous as I thought.
Deputy Mayor.
Yes, thank you very much. I had one of my questions was if we could expand in the town of Spencerville or the village of Johnstown. Another one, I didn't realize we rented hot water tanks to the people. Is there a price? Could you tell me a price per month?
Yes, I can. So we have legacy tanks and we have new tanks. So our new tanks, we have 40 gallon and 60 gallon tanks. They're $18.50 and $21.50 for the new tanks. The old tanks, we just raised the prices to $12 and $15. They used to be around $5. And if we got a service call, we're really all of the tanks. That's the current pricing that we have. Now we currently haven't started promoting it much, and when we do start promoting it, it'll be carefully done because with the dealer relationship code, we're careful not to promote it only to hybrid customers because that's a special privilege of hybrid. We have to go at a lot of customers. There's some nuances of how we can distribute advertising on the website. It's totally okay, or through the township, it's totally okay. But yes, we do rent.
Thank you. And streetlight service municipalities. Now, do you install the streetlight? If we had one, I request to put one on a certain street. Would St. Lawrence Electrical come and install it?
Yeah, we can't currently. We don't have the license to do so.
Right.
Once we do get it, we can totally install it and maintain it. Now right now we're looking to just do maintenance contracts is what we're targeting to do. We used to do it around seven or so years ago, and we want to get back into it. And there's some municipalities, not just the ones that are shareholder owners that are interested. I think some other municipalities that have shown commissioners as well. We got ourselves this.
Thank you.
I have no questions for your presentation.
Well, you sparked me with the EV. So where are you in those discussions, or is it just in its infancy?
So we have reapplied and worked with Lakefront, they're over, and that utility has developed a contract. They have pricing, they have also the models of EV chargers that they want to use. They have partnered with a local company that does installations. So for us, we're at the stage of seeking a local contractor that would also do that. There's some nuances there because the pricing of that installation has to be wrapped into also the price of the rental fees. So there's going to be what's called a standard install and how the home is built with the the local breaker boxes, how that's designed. So that there's a little bit of nuance there. And then separate to that, it's also about adoption, right? So I'd say in our area, we're a little bit slower than bigger cities on adoption of EVs. And also at the start, the EVs were more of a luxury item. And so at the start, the EVs were, if you can afford an EV, probably just buy your own, install your own. Whereas as EV prices get low on lower, they become more mass market, and there will be a better entry point for us. So at this point, we're looking at seeking a partner, and then from there, customers. So we don't yet have a good partner.
Would it be limited to the distribution network, like those customers, or
we
could be
anywhere, just like what's called the field businesses. So once we're in that business, we can start installing in the local area.
Great. I think that's it for me. Does anyone else have anything else?
Well, I had forgotten to ask a question, but I think you just answered it. And streetlights could be anywhere as well, not just in our catchments.
We can only distribute electricity and charge delivery fees within the territory, but for other services, that's what we're looking for.
Good. Thanks again, Simon, for the presentation. I think we are lucky to have yourself and RSL. You know, in a municipality, it's great that we weren't like so many others that sold off, that we held on, and you know it's evident in the 270 for the distribution alone helps benefit you know the residents that are still attached to it. So keep up the great work, and hopefully you get into the hydro maintenance, the hydro pole maintenance again with the streetlights. That's certainly something this crowd has had a discussion about over the last couple of years. So we're looking forward to that.
Great, thanks so much.
Thanks again. All right, so we are moving on to, are we good to go for Craig and Hooker? All right, so moving on to our 4B delegation and presentation, which is the elimination of the LCBO markup and wine levy. I want to welcome Mr. Craig McMillan. Welcome to the meeting, Craig.
Thank you very much, Mayor and Council, for having us. So my name is Craig, as mentioned. I'm the interim chair of Ontario Artisan Wineries. Are you able to see my presentation? I've shared the screen.
Yeah, we can hear you well, and we can see your screen well as well, Craig. I just wanted you to know that I was at the presentation that you did for the United Counties last week. Obviously spoke in support, especially as a small business owner myself. So looking forward to the group being able to hear your presentation. Same as what I mentioned to Mr. Wu and Mr. Stitt is we're trying to keep it to 10 minutes. I know you respected that time limit well, and I'm sure there'll be lots of comments and hopefully some questions for you when we're done. So the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. And Richard Deslandes from Oxford Station, Green Gable Vines is with us as well. So we're seeking council support to eliminate the LCBO markup and wine levy imposed on the direct delivery of 100% Ontario non-DQA wine to a licensee. And I'll explain that in a little bit more detail, but as a bit of a background about ourselves, OAW was formed in the spring of 2022. It was really in response to the fact that we needed to expand to have a provincial voice for non-DQA independent wineries. We're very small. We're 2,000 cases, our members. None of them make over 2,000 cases. And to give you a comparison, the Vintner Quality Alliance considers a small winery to be 20,000 cases. So we're pretty tiny. It's a very sustainable model, as I'll talk about, but it's all based on local agritourism. Our members in Eastern Ontario mostly, but also Prince Edward County and Erie North Shore. And you've probably heard of the Eastern Ontario wine producers. Most of us belong to both. The difference is that the EOWP is more of an umbrella organization for meaderies, grape wineries, fruit wineries, and cideries. We focus expressly on grapes, and we're provincial rather than regional. In terms of why is this important, the markup and wine levy is in effect barring our wineries from selling to local licensees. So Richard, if he's approached by a restaurant in your area, pretty much has to say no, because I'll show you the charges that are imposed. We just financially can't afford it. The consequence is it's limiting development of local agritourism and rural diversification. It's really punishing grape growers that are producing wine from 100% Ontario grapes, exactly the same as the VQA. So we're both using 100% Ontario fruit. This is impacting our sustainability and the development of rural local economies, and it's certainly inconsistent with Ontario being open for business and supporting local. Eastern Ontario in itself is really on the verge of potentially becoming a new wine region in both Ontario and in Canada. But from our perspective, this is a hurdle that needs to be gotten over to really have that come to fruition. because I have to speak honestly to new people wanting to enter the field to say, you have to be aware of these charges. Just briefly, I'm not going to go through the list here, but these are our current members. So we have 13. We estimate there's 30 to 40 non-VQA wineries in the province that are impacted by this issue. And in Eastern Ontario, we have 10 wineries that are impacted. So this is just a visual representation of the, or a graphic of the direct delivery. What that really represents is the numbers I'm going to speak to you about next. So if we take a $20 bottle of wine, and that's sold by a VQA winery, the selling price is actually $18.02 based on the numbers that come out of LCBO. And so the VQA winery would get 80% of that sale, which would be $14.47. And if you go to the second column, the non-VQA winery, like Richard and myself, would be getting 52%, which is $9.45. The key is the second line, the provincial revenue that VQA winery pays is 14%, which is $2.56. We're paying 42%, which is $7.58. The federal and container depositor is the same across the board. So if you go to the red numbers at the bottom, the VQA winery is paying 19.7% in charges, $3.55, and 47.5% is what the non-VQA winery is paying. And at the third line at the bottom of that slide, the difference, it's in bold there, is the LCBO markup, which is $6 and change, plus the wine levy, which is $1.20. So if you want to extrapolate that to what's this costing once you get into cases, sales, the VQA winery in that $20 bottle of wine selling 12 in a box is going to make $173. The non-VQA winery is going to make $113 and paying $60.24 more in charges. If you go to 1,000 cases, we're making $60,000 less and paying $60,000 more in charges to LCBO. And in 2,000 cases, it's $120,000 less and $120,000 more in charges. Now, I have to be fair here. Small artisan wineries are not going to sell 2,000 cases to local restaurants. They'd probably like to, but we have on-site winery retail stores. We go to farmers markets. So, you know, that's a more extravagant example of 2,000 cases, but it gives you the scale of the implications of these charges. The next slide, number 9, is really just talking about, number 8 is the charges for, no, I took a slide out, sorry. That's why it's not there. So slide 9, so where does the LCBO get the authority to impose this markup and wine levy? So the Eastern Ontario wine producers, Smoky LeBlanc and others chased this down for a number of years. In 2021, I took an active interest in it and spent about a year trying to get an answer from Ministry of Finance and others about where's the authority to charge these exorbitant fees. And we were told for years it was legislative amendment. There was nothing you could be done about it. But what we finally determined was it's the natural rights provisions that's created by Section 4, subsection 1 of the Liquor Control Board of Ontario Act. And essentially that's just creating them to be like a person where they can, like any business person, impose markups and levies on products that they sell. And that we have to recognize LCBO is a monopoly in this province. So any alcohol is basically funneling through their store. Why is that important? It's a policy decision that they've made to impose these charges. It's not a legislative one. So in my mind, it should be easier, but policy decisions can be pretty hard to change, as we all know. The irony is if the LCBO markup and wine levy were actually removed, it would increase provincial revenues. Now, I'm not talking tens of millions of dollars, but these non-VQA wineries would then start selling into that revenue stream to local venues and restaurants and would start paying the fees that VQA pay. And depending on the number you have, it's anywhere from $500,000 up to $1.5–2 million that would be generated that is not being available right now. So I've added this slide. Why not just join VQA? This in itself is a 10-minute rabbit hole I could go down, but I've tried to put it into some short points. The first answer is for those of us in Eastern Ontario, in fact, all members of the Ontario Artisan Wineries are growing what's called cold climate grapes. These didn't exist 15, 20 years ago to the extent that they do now. And under the VQA rules, we wouldn't qualify for recognition for our grapes because I put it in quotes there, 0% Labrusca parentage is required. That's the Wine Appellation Authority, or VQA, that's their rule. And the consequence is I'm not aware of any cold climate grape that has no Labrusca in it. That's how they get the cold hardiness. My plants are good to -35 to -50. The plants they grow mostly in Prince Edward County in Niagara or in Europe, they're called warm climate grapes, Vitis vinifera. They're not going to survive our winters. So that's why we've gone this route. It makes sense to climatologically have grapes that are suited to this area. So why would I grow something that's unsuited for winter climates, which is Vitis vinifera? So Cabernet, Merlot, Riesling, Chardonnay. Even if we were approved, so say we get by that hurdle where we're not permitted to have cold climate grapes admitted to the VQA, we'd still not have full recognition. One simple example is VQA says you can only say Ontario, VQA Ontario on your label. You couldn't say a specific appellation like they have in Niagara and Prince Edward County. So second-class citizen. Whoops, that's my fault. The other really important issue is that, and I crunched the numbers on this. So the numbers that we went through previously are not the OAW or Macmillan pulling them out of the air. There's an LCBO calculator that's in your materials, a one-pager. And all I did was I plugged the numbers into that calculator created by LCBO, and it gave out those numbers and percentages. So I looked at, well, what would happen if I joined the VQA, if I could do that? And really any benefit I would get from the reduced LCBO markup and wine levies would be completely or almost completely nullified by the new VQA fees and charges that I would have to pay. The reason is that artisan wineries are only selling less than 2,000 cases. If you were selling more than that, the fees become less of an issue because you have a larger scale to offset. I can frankly say that none of the OAW wineries are interested in the export market to internationally, and we're not looking at LCBO stores. We're all local agritourism partnering models with producers. Another practical reason is LCBO volume is something we would have difficulty meeting. And there's other demands, which I'm not criticizing them, but they have a 62-page product packaging standards that has charts and tables and pages talking about what color your font has to be, how big, how much light it has to reflect, and other things. So that's really not something that is designed for small wineries. And so we would say that climate change, sustainable growing practices, and consumer expectations are redefining and eclipsing the VQA European appellation model. Disease-resistant grapes are a big topic, and that's what we're growing. Chardonnay sometimes needs to be sprayed 15 times. My grapes need to be sprayed 3 to 4 times. So that in itself is an important consideration. So what's going to take to change this policy decision? We've adopted, as you'll see, a sustained and multi-tiered advocacy approach. So we're engaging townships like yourself that have an impacted winery or wineries in their area. We're then looking at the United Counties, meeting with them. We've been engaged with MPPs, and we've been engaged with agricultural groups and other industry sector groups. So Grape Growers of Ontario came on board late last fall, which was quite a new development. The board passed a resolution that I have there that all 100% grown non-VQA wine be eligible for the same treatment as VQA wine. The Glengarry Federation of Agriculture supported us late in the fall, and we managed to get a delegation to the OFA AGM. And in November, the AGM passed the resolution, and it was adopted by the board early in January this year. And in February, they wrote a letter to the Ministry of Finance requesting elimination of the LCBO markup and wine levy. Township of North Glengarry has been very central. That's where I'm located, in a small village called Lough Heel. And in November, I approached council, and they were supportive and suggested that we try to get a delegation before the Ministry of Finance at Roma, which did happen on January 24th. MPP Stefan Sarazan was with us, and we spoke with the parliamentary assistant there and expressed the concerns that we had. Since then, Stephen Leardy, the MPP for Essex, has indicated he will speak with the Minister of Finance about the LCBO markup and wine levy. Steve Clark from Leeds Grenville, the MPP, has sent a letter on February 6th to the Ministry of Finance supporting the OAW and policy changes to the levy and markup. I've spoken with MPP Gamare. She's indicated support and will be writing to the Minister of Finance and speaking to other colleagues. MPP Stephen Sarazan has additionally said he will be writing a letter And MPP Todd Smith from Bay of Quint has confirmed his support and will be speaking with the Minister of Finance. And lastly, from SDG, MPP Nolan Quinn has sent a letter to the Ministry of Finance. Those letters that we do have are in the materials along with the OFA and the grape growers letters for your reference. So as mentioned by the mayor, I was before United Counties, Stormont, Dundas, and Glengarry, and there was an adoption of a resolution that we proposed, and it was signed that day and circulated to the Ministry of Finance and other relevant ministers. Township of South Glengarry, we also met with them the same day as SDG in the evening, and they supported us, as has United Counties of Leeds and Grenville on February 23rd. So they supported the resolution. It wasn't adopted. It was put over for further tabling, I guess, for a future meeting. Last week, I did meet on Friday with City of Ottawa Agriculture and Rural Affairs Committee, which is comprised of the rural councillors of the City of Ottawa, and they unanimously agreed to seek support of full council to endorse a letter that they're drafting on behalf of OAW to seek elimination. And also have had a conversation with Prescott Russell Chamber of Commerce, and they will be writing a letter to the Ministry of Finance. And we have some other delegations and presentations scheduled. So we're before you requesting that a resolution be adopted supporting elimination of the LCB markup and wine levy, and then be circulated to the Minister of Finance and other relevant ministers. But we're certainly open to any other advice that you would have in how to approach this issue. And the resolution is simply for your consideration only, as you may have other views on how you want to move forward. And I will close with our contacts information there if you have any questions, and we'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. McMillan, for your presentation and all the information that you have in there. I'm going to open the floor to the council members for their questions, and I'll save mine till the very end. Councillor Martin.
I don't really have any questions per se. So, you know, we have some folks in the gallery here who do something very similar, and I can say that it's a lot more about the community than just making the product. You know, Don and I are at the brewery half the summer, and there's an impact there that goes beyond just the liquid in the bottle. I'm like 100% behind this great presentation. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor.
Yes, I just have a couple. BQA and non-BQA is a BQA. Is that a meets all standards, or am I missing something?
So VQA really started out 35 years ago with some wineries getting together, and they found out they couldn't access the international markets. They needed to have an appellation system. That was France saying to Canada, we want you to have a model like ours. So it was a voluntary system. And then 25 years ago, there was regulations and a statute put into place. So there is a regulatory body that sets out standards for wines that they have under VQA. It's very much the European model. And so the only difference I would say between us, other than we don't belong to VQA, is they have an assessment panel. So they'll evaluate wines in a panel, which has been a source of quite some disagreement in VQA itself. But in any event, we still test our wines. My wine all goes to a lab. I'm more than happy to try and compete in the market, but we're really not going to displace VQA. They have about 23% of the market. And we both have 100% Ontario grapes. So they are a regulatory model, but they don't govern non-VQA wineries.
And is it expensive to just go VQA? Like, why not just, we have VQA and non-VQA, why not just join the VQA? Or is that? Yeah,
so I think it's about $8,000 that I would save. I think I modeled on 500 cases of wine if I was under the VQA, and their charges would eliminate that. So it's $550 a year to belong to them. You have to pay $350 for a lab test. I use a private lab for the same test. I pay $80. The courier and administrative fees, it adds up to thousands of dollars, and that's where the rub is. If I'm Peely Island or somewhere else and I'm making 10, 20, 30, 40,000 or 100,000 cases, that's a drop in a bucket. But it's not a drop in the bucket for a small family estate winery It essentially, if I joined VQA, any benefit I would get financially would be eliminated by these additional charges.
Thank you, so me.
Okay.
Yeah, yep, so thank you very much. You've pretty much answered my question of, wow, how did we get here? To be honest, it's hard to believe, but I'm glad you're bringing it up. And you asked earlier about some advice on what to do, and I think you're headed down the right path. And I don't think I have anything I can offer you on that, except I support and I do share Councilor Martel's opinion that I like going to the small businesses to see what's going on there. It's not just about what's in the bottle, and it's about the experience of being there. And I support you. So thank you for the presentation. It's good. Absolutely, that's a good point. Councilor Smith.
Well, I just like to say, I was really impressed with the presentation. As far as I'm concerned, this is all a small business. I'm all for it. I mean, I feel sorry for the people that are like, there's only 13 of you, and yet if you join the VQA, it's going to cost you thousands and thousands of dollars. Federal government and British government always talk about helping the small businessman out, so I think it's time they should. So I agree with what you're going for, and good luck.
Okay, and so we council consider a resolution. I don't expect you to adopt anything today, but we did provide a draft for your consideration. If you would want to have a look at that.
We have that, Mr. McMillan. We have it on our action and information items for item 8I for the potential support. So when we get down to that, it certainly sounds like there's a broad amount of support around the table. We won't know until it passes.
Yeah.
Passes that resolution. We have your resolution. I don't believe, I'll ask the clerk, I don't believe there's been any changes to the resolution. It is their resolution. Yeah, okay. So I just had a couple of comments, Mr. McMillan. I made them at United Counties, but I'll make them again. I certainly am a supporter of all small business, either in our township or outside of our township. Certainly believe in supporting our agricultural industry. I believe that this is a diversified form of agriculture as well. It certainly helps support our local rural economy as well. And I believe that changes like this help level out. I don't know if you can ever level out the playing field with the big guys, but any opportunity we get as a council to help support and level out the playing field for small craft, whether it's breweries, wineries, small batch liquors, cideries, wines, whatever we can do to help level out those playing fields. I'm 100% for it. And I certainly support what you're doing. We saw it during the pandemic with a small change to the 5-acre rule. I mentioned this when we talked before, and how big of an impact that can have on really small batch cideries. So change can happen when you get grassroots opportunities like you're doing, and I think it's fantastic what you're doing. Trying to support our local folk as well, the Green Gables. So thanks again for your presentation. Oh, I had one question. When you did your presentation for Roma, have you received any follow-up from them since Roma?
So the Mayor McDonald from North Glengarry did receive a letter. I've got a copy where, I'm sorry, I forget the parliamentary assistant's name. He confirmed that he met with the minister and briefed them on the presentation, but beyond that, we've not had any other further comment. I have a phone call on the 3rd with the Ministry of Finance, Alcohol Policy Gaming Branch. They're play pretty tight to their vest. I don't know if they'll say too much to me either, but I do have a dialogue with them.
Just keep knocking on doors. It's good. Thanks again, Mr. McMillan, and to Richard from Green Gables as well for being here tonight. We really appreciate it. Like I said, your item is 8I, and it certainly sounds like there's strong support around the table for resolution. So
thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council.
Good night.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. Just a second. All right, where are we now? We are. Okay, so we're on to number 5, which is the meetings of our previous council meetings, and 5A is regarding the special council January 30th And I believe Councillor Ward, you have that.
I do, moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Whitesdale, that municipal council receives and approves the minutes of the special council meeting dated January 30th, 2020.
Thank you, Mr. Ward. So, to the clerk, just so that I make sure that I have this right, I think I have it right, but we will look at errors and omissions for this, correct? So if anybody noted any errors or omissions, now's the time. If not, we will receive and approve this set of minutes as they are. So, any changes? No, hearing none. It's been moved and seconded, then I will call the question on approval of the minutes. All in favor? Good. All right, so then we will move on to 5B, which is regular council, January 30th, 2023. And Councillor Smale, I believe that you have that item.
Yes, I do. It's moved by myself and seconded by Councilor Chris Ward, that the municipal council receives and approves the minutes of the regular council meeting dated January 30th, 2023.
Thank you, Councillor Smale, Councillor Ward. So same thing, errors, omissions. Anyone? Changes? No. So receive and approve again. So I'll call the question then. All in favor? Okay, great. Then that means we're moving on to number 6, which is business arising from either sets of these council minutes. Does anyone have any business arising from these sets of minutes? No, seeing none. Okay, then we are moving on to our various committee meetings. This is where council receives and approves the minutes of several committees of the whole from the previous month, except for our port management, as the port will approve its own minutes at its meetings. So we will receive them, just not approve them. So they approve their own. So starting at 7A, I believe that is Councillor Martel.
Moved by myself, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stephen Dillabaugh. The municipal council receives the minutes of the Port Management Committee meeting dated January 25th, 2023.
Thank you very much. And so this is just receiving them. We're not looking for errors, omissions, or anything like that, correct? Okay. Comments, questions on these minutes? Anyone? Okay, hearing none, I will call the question. All in favor of receiving these minutes? So moving on to then item B, which is Committee of the Whole, Administration and Operations Budget number 2, February 2nd. Deputy Mayor Dillabaugh, I believe you have that motion filed.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself and seconded by Councilor Martel, that the municipality council receives and approves the minutes of the Committee of the Whole, Administration and Operation Budget meeting number 2, dated February 2nd, 2023.
Thank you, Councillor, or Deputy Mayor. Here we begin. It's getting less, though. I will point out that it's getting less than I call it, Councillor. It's got to be once, right? Okay. Errors and omissions for this one. Correct. All right, I'm starting to get it. So, are there any errors, omissions, changes that need to be done to? You guys are welcome to stay. It's exciting. If I knew you were coming, we would have brought popcorn. So, thanks for coming out. Appreciate it. Are there errors and omissions for these minutes, guys? All right, hearing none, seeing no changes, and no discussion on these. So it has been moved and seconded. So I will call the question then. All in favor? Unanimous. Good. Moving on to the next set, Committee of the Whole, Community Development, Councillor Ward. I believe you have that in front of you.
Yep, moved by myself, but seconded again by Councillor Whitesdale. The municipal council receives and approves the minutes of the Committee of the Whole Community Development meeting dated February 6th, 2020.
All right, errors and omissions. Good. Comments, questions? All in favor? Okay, then we are on to Committee of the Whole Admin and Operation, Committee of the Whole Administration and Operations, February 13th, and Councillor Smale, I believe you have that.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. It's moved by me and seconded by Councilor Chris Ward, that the municipal council receives and approves the minutes of the Committee of the Whole Administration and operations meeting dated February 13th, 2023.
Councilor Smale, again, errors, omissions. Comments, questions, hearing none, all in favor? Third reason. All right, and moving on to item 7E, which is Committee of the Whole Administration and Operations Budget number 3, which was February the 21st. Councilor Martel, I believe you have that item.
Moved by myself, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stephen Dillabaugh. The Municipal Council receives and approves the minutes of the Committee of the Whole Administration and Operations Budget Meeting number 3 dated February 21st, 2023.
Sir, errors, omissions, comments, questions, hearing none, all in favor? Good, that takes care of the various committee meeting minutes. All right, so now we will move on to item 8, which is where council takes action on certain items that were recommended through these committees. So the first one that we will look at is item 8A, and that is the renewal of the River Route Transit Service Partnership Agreement. And Councilor Smale, we can bring that to the table, please.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Moved by myself and seconded by Chris Ward that the Municipal Council reviews the River Route Transit Service Partnership Agreement for the upcoming period of April 1st, 2023 to March 31st, 2024, and 2, that the River Road Transit Service be funded by the Modernization Fund as recommended by the Committee of the Whole and Community Development.
Good, thank you, Councilor Smale and Councilor Ward. Discussion, further discussion on the site. Anyone?
No, just that. Well, let's just suggest that. I mean, you know, when you're looking at the trend, I mean, it is an upward trend. You know, we were talking about whether we continue to fund this or not. I think that's an important thing to look at when you're looking. You know, it's not. It seems to be still growing. So based on that, you know, I found it to be a pretty, you know, for the money we're talking about, a pretty good decision to continue on that. But I didn't know this one. So
good. Thank you for your comment. I appreciate that. Further comments, anyone? I think it's good to give the opportunity to the river route to continue to evolve from what it originated as to what it's becoming, and hopefully it will continue to see the costs per ride go down, like Councilor Ward has indicated. I think we all want nothing but success for this, but it needs to perform and ultimately be used for it to continue. I do have one question to staff, and I should have emailed this one, but last week there was topping up for transit in Ontario. Did this project qualify for any topping up of transit, or do we know that? To staff, sorry for the.
Yeah, so through the mayor, I'm not 100% sure at this stage, but the committee will be following.
Okay, thank you for that, CAO. We'll look forward to that follow up. There was refresh my memory what that's. It's not called gas taxing. Is it?
So through the mayor, it's still referred to as the prevention gas tax.
Right. Then, but it was specifically for topping up transit though this time, correct? Like then the next little bit that's coming.
That is correct. It was specific to transit. Yes,
good. Okay, good. So hopefully we'll be getting some good news and we'll qualify for some of that extra funding. So with the few comments that we've heard, anybody further comments on this one? No. Then I will call the vote on renewing the River Route Transit Service. All in favor? Unanimous. All right, so we are moving on to 8B, which is the 2022 annual Cardinal WPCP summary report. And I believe Deputy Mayor Dillabaugh, you have that report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself and seconded by Councilor Martel. The Municipality Council receives the 2022 annual report for the Cardinal Water Pollution Control Plant and direct staff to submit the report to the MECP prior to the March 31st deadline, as recommended by the Committee of the Whole, Administration and Operation.
Thank you, Mayor. Thoroughly discussed and brought out at, I believe, the Committee of the Whole earlier this month. So, is there more discussion, or is there discussion on this item? Hearing none, then all in favor?
Aye.
Then we are moving on to 8C, which is the 2022 Cardinal and Industrial Park Drinking Water System Summary Report. Councillor Smale, I believe that you have that.
That is correct, Mayor. Thank you. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Chris Ward, that the municipal council receives the 2022 water summary reports for the Cardinal and Industrial Park water systems as recommended by the Committee of Whole, Administration and Operations.
Again, another thorough discussion at the council meeting and a presentation, and I want to thank the folks at Environmental Services for the great work that they do, keeping our water safe for consumption and making sure that I know that they take pride in offering a superior product. So thank you for the work that you do. Moved and seconded. Comments, questions, further?
Just to follow on that, then there to your point, they do a great job with the water reports and things. Nice and clear to read, and it gives you the good full picture of what you're looking at. And I think I said it before, but I appreciate the fact they do that because it helps us make these decisions. So
yeah, very clear. Yeah. Crystal clear, right? Is that the term? All right. So I will call the question then. All in favor? Aye. All right, moving on to the 8D, which is the Ferguson Drain Maintenance Tender Award. And Councillor Smale, once again, you have that one.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. It's moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Chris Ward that the municipal council award the Ferguson Municipal Drain Culvert Replacement Tender number ECPW MUNDR 2301 to Willis Kerr Contracting Limited for the sum of $25,713 plus non-rebated HST, and 2, direct staff to bill the upstream beneficiaries of the maintenance for the work as stipulated in the Draining Act, as recommended by the Committee of the Whole, Administrations and Operations.
Thank you, Councillor Smale. Another thorough discussion at minute of operations. So before we go further, I will ask if there are any comments or further questions regarding this. Fully debated and discussed. So hearing none, I will call the question then. All in favor? Aye. Or the tender. All right, so we are now on 8E, which is the 2023 water systems budgets. And I believe Councillor Martelli, you have that item.
Moved by myself, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stephen Dillabaugh. Municipal Council approves the 2023 budget as presented for all water and wastewater systems as recommended by the Committee of the Whole, Administration and Operation.
Another full discussion. I will go to staff just so that I don't report this incorrectly. There'll be no change to the water prices other than the levy, which the levy will go up $1 both on water and on wastewater. Is that correct? Going from $3 to $4 and from $4 to $5.
Mr. Chairman, that is correct. For all the other systems, excluding Cardinal Water and Cardinal Wastewater, there will be no rate increases. The only rate increases for Cardinal Water is the stipulated and wastewater.
Right, and that dedicated levy, was put in place several years ago, knowing that a large project like Highway 2 was coming, but not only that we need to have that levy in place to continually upgrade our infrastructure so that there isn't any sudden or large impact to the ratepayer. So continuing to do what's needed to make sure that we protect the ratepayer. So further discussions at all, gentlemen at the table? Hearing none. All in favor? All right, so item F, which is the tandem axle truck tender award, and I believe Councillor Smale, you have that one as well.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Chris Ward, that the municipal council awarded the 5-ton plow truck tender number ECPW 2301 to Cornwall Freightliner at a cost of $322,370 plus non-rebate HST.
So good news there. We see a tender come in a little bit under the budgeted amount, which is kind of nice to see. Little bit of possibly a long delivery time, but we kind of knew that going into this, I think, as well. Comments, questions at all? Councillors,
what's the date on how long it might be?
To staff?
With the mayor to the CIO?
Certainly through the mayor, the pilot estimate is approximately 1 year.
So end of January or end of February next year, somewhere in that range.
Through the mayor, it will certainly depend on when the sort of purchase order is issued, what's in the queue at that time, and that will play a role in the speed at which it's delivered.
Wonder. Yes.
One more question to the mayor's field. Is it going to be a 2022 or 2023? I guess seeing how it's a year coming, I'm just wondering.
I'll just speak to, I'll ask the director of operations just to confirm that what the model of the year of the truck.
I believe it would be 2023. Thank you.
Councillor Ward, question, comment?
Yeah, the only question I had is it comes down to the number of our first choice versus our second choice, and actually with regards to lead time, was there a significant lead time difference? In other words, is it possible that the second most expensive bid, which is about $16,000 higher, has a shorter lead time that would be offset by the costs on truck 5?
That's a good question. That's a good question. Through staff.
So, through the mayor, I do not believe that there was a wide range with respect to delivery time. They were all around the same, but I will just confirm as we are operations to make sure that I'm not speaking incorrectly.
Through the chair, I believe that this was actually probably the smallest. They're probably close to that 54 range, but there's other contributing factors due to those costs in terms of what the specs were on the truck and what they were delivering.
Okay. I'm happy. Yeah. Further discussion, further comments on this? No, hearing none. Then all in favor of awarding the 5-ton plow truck tender? Call the question. All in favor? Yes. We just bought the truck. Okay. Councillor Martel, you have the next item, which is the Port of Johnstown year-end report and pre-audit financial statement.
Moved by myself, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stephen Dillabaugh, that Municipal Council 1 receives Port of Johnstown 2022 year-end report, and 2 receives a financial statement as per bylaw 2017-2, and that the financial statements be submitted to and interpreted to council after recommended by Port Management.
Thank you, Councillor Martel. Tongue twister there for me. Certainly discussed another fantastic year at the port, record revenue, record surpluses, received pretty much a record everything at the port last year. Another fantastic year. So well done and congratulations to General Manager Daly and all of the staff at the port. We certainly are thankful to have you in this township. So keep up the great work. Any other comments before I call the question on the receiving? No. All in favor then?
Right. Job well done.
Done. All right, and the next one, which is item H, which is the Port of Johnstown budget, and Councillor Smale, I believe you have that.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. Moved by myself and seconded by Chris Ward, that the municipal council one approves the Port of Johnstown's 2023 budget revenues and expenses as presented, and two, approves the Port of Johnstown's 2023 capital budget in the amount of $9,586,000 plus 2022 carryover amount $1,305,950 for a total of $10,891,950, excluding the HST, as recommended by the Port Management Committee.
Thank you, Councillor Smale. Comments, questions on or words in regard to the 2023 Port of Johnstown budget?
I think my concerns were documented in that meeting, in the Port of Johnstown meeting, so I'm not further.
Okay. Deputy Mayor.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd just like to send your attention to page 166 of the budget, donation and sponsorship, the discontinued community funding, redirected by $35,000. I just wanted to make it clear that our next port meeting, we will be having a full discussion on that. That's all. Thank you.
Okay. Good. And so you mean the discontinuation of the capital fund,
Right?
And moving towards more of a promotional fund.
Right, and it goes from 75 to 35.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you so much.
And that's your committee, so that'll be coming up.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Good. I certainly want to make a comment on this one, and I have to applaud again the aggressive nature of our port GM, and taking certainly a very big swing. A $9.5 million budget with a 1.3 carryover, equaling almost an $11 million capital investment into our port, if realized, is fantastic. A lot of it hinges upon a $4 million grain dryer and a change to the loading area of 2.5 million or so. There's several projects that may not get the grants that they need from other levels of government to continue, but even without those grants, it's still going to be a record investment back into our port. And I think it's worthwhile noting that it is more than double, almost triple what the last budget was. So very, very aggressive dollars going back into our port. So and you're correct in that, Deputy Mayor, it is good to see. So having said that, further discussion at the table. Hearing none, I'll call the question then. All in favor? Assuming that was unanimous, I didn't see. You were up.
Yeah.
All right, item I, which is the going back to Mr. McMillan, Craig McMillan's resolution for the elimination of the LCBO markup and wine levy on 100% Ontario non-VQA wine. Deputy Mayor, I know this is a lengthy one. Are you going to read the whole one? It is submitted in the package. You do not have to read it all. If you don't want to read it
I'm
all.
going to, thank you, Mr. Mayor, moved by myself and seconded by Councilor Martel, that the draft resolution and elimination of LCBO markup and wine levy of 100% of Ontario non-VQA1.
Thank you. That motion is fully available on in the printed package, and it is also available in the HTML and in the agenda online. If there isn't anyone who has not access to it, I believe it's on page 184 of 248. Further discussion here at the table? Yes.
But if I could, I certainly understand that Deputy Mayor not want to read the entire motion.
You want the operative at the bottom? Okay. That operative at the bottom. You can skip the whereas.
And the further resolve that, is that what you want?
Right.
Mr. CEO, you have it.
Thank you.
And further be it resolved that the resolution be forwarded to the Minister of Finance, Minister of Municipality Affairs and Housing, and Minister of Agriculture and Food, and you want me up here?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Now
Therefore be resolved that the Council of Corporation of Township of Orangeburg Cardinal supports elimination of LCBO markup and wine levy imposed on the direct delivery of 100% Ontario non-VQA wine to a license. And further be it resolved that this resolution be forwarded to the Ministry of Finance, Minister of Municipality Affairs and Housing, Minister of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs, the Minister of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade, and the Minister of Red Tape Reduction, and the Minister of Tourism, Culture and Sport.
You got it out. Well done. All right. So further comments, questions? Again, I think I'm going to take two seconds to say again, supporting a resolution like this supports small business. It supports the agriculture industry, especially in our area, even if it is small batch diversified agriculture. It certainly supports our the continuation of our local rural culture. It helps level the playing field for a small business like this as well. Small businesses like this with the big giants. So yes, sometimes small folks can move big mountains. So let's do our part and hope that we can get them there. So I'll call the question. All in favor? Unanimous support. Well done. Oh, good. Happy to see that move along. Yeah. All right, so moving on to correspondence. And so as council, we receive many items of correspondence from various agencies or municipalities or other levels of government. All members of council have the opportunity to have any item included in correspondence packages be added to agendas for discussion. So we are going to bring correspondence for approval. And I believe Councillor Martel, you have that.
Moved by myself, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stephen Dillabaugh, that the Municipal Council receives a correspondence listings for the following dates as previously circulated. February 1st, 2023, February 8th, 2023, February 15th, 2023, and February 22nd, 2023.
Thank you very much. Discussion or comments on the correspondence as listed? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Good. All right, so moving on to approval of the disbursements, and I think this is, if I may ask the clerk, this may possibly be the last time we will do approval of disbursements. Will we expect that to change to receiving the disbursements after procedural bylaw passes?
The chair, the first will know the and Mark would still be required to be approval reading the follow.
Third and final reading. So second last, then approval of disbursements. It'll change to receiving the municipal disbursement. So via the change to the procedural bylaw. And I believe Councillor Ward, you have that motion.
Yeah, it is sometimes a tongue twister, so that'll be a welcome thing as well. But moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Waddy Snail, that municipal council approves the payment of municipal invoices circulated and dated as follows. Report dated January 3rd, 2023-2022 for $93,098.58. Report dated January 31st, 2023-024 for $227,626.94. Report dated February 15th, 2023-036 for $1,035,493.67. Report dated February 15th, 2023-037 for $95,874 exactly. Report dated for February 22nd, 2023-039 for $12,543.66 for a grand total of $1,464,636.85.
Thank you, Mr. Work. Great deal of business getting done there in the first couple of months. So typically when members have questions regarding the disbursements, the normal procedure as usually we encourage members to email those to staff and then get the answers to them, and then if they feel the need to bring those forward during this open session, then to bring those questions forward during the session. So does anyone have I know that there's going to be a couple of questions, so does anybody have questions regarding the disbursements?
I didn't have any questions, but I do know there's one of our suppliers that I'm going to go nameless, who obviously is making a lot of mistakes every month, but I'm glad we probably check them because I seem to see we have reversals all the time with them. So anyways, keep up the good diligence on that.
Good. And Deputy Mayor, you have a question?
I do, and I'm sorry I didn't get to the treasurer on this one. Page 194, halfway down. Truck 5, I do believe that's one. That's a T10 International 4,000 for a valve injector. Is that the one we're getting rid of, or might be trading with the new one? Do the chair to CEO or operation manager?
Yeah, through the mayor, truck 5 is the one that would be replaced.
That's one we're replacing
with the new tandem axle. There was some discussion depending on costs of that unit moving forward, or whether that may be kept as a spare, but we'll certainly need to monitor that leading on to.
I have one more. I'm sorry. The hydro line repairs. What is that? Hydro line repairs.
Page number?
Same 194, just above it. $800.38. C.
In the paper package, it's 192.
Paper package 192. Computers 194. Just above the modular valve injector T5, the same. Is that part of the hydro line? Is that repairs in T5? Is that part of the truck repairs? To the CEO?
Sure. So yes, I believe through the mayor, I expect that is a hydraulic line, not a hydro line. With respect to T5, it's just
yeah, I'm fine. Good. Kind of scared me.
It's just that's going here.
I kept thinking hydro.
Yeah.
Not here. Thank you.
So
thank you so much. I'll take that. Thanks. Sorry about I didn't get a hold of it. I'm really sorry.
Funds aside, we're saying that we're going to replace T5. I think we've already replaced T5. So. All right, so moving along with this, I have to call the question unless there are further questions or comments on this one then. So all in favor of the disbursements? Deputy Mayor, yes. Okay, all right, moving into bylaws. All right. So this is the bylaws that are coming forward are where the powers of councils are exercised by bylaw for matters or for actions that will affect the general public. Most bylaws will be read a first and second time. If they receive unanimous support, the bylaw will be able to move to third and final reading. If it doesn't receive unanimous support, the final reading will be delayed until the next meeting of council. The one thing that I'm unsure on that, is it the next meeting of council or is there a time?
Through the chair,
Okay, perfect. Thank you. When I was reading through the act just to see it didn't, stipulate a time. And I know sometimes we have, when we're doing budget, we have council meetings that might only be a week or 2 weeks apart. So
there's no set zone, it's usually the background. Your mark of Italian, a little bit Italian that if it doesn't be unanimously, just carry forward for regular council meeting, unless something is of emergency nature in interim period for some sure that we be all the sooner than going one off and other.
perfect, thank you. And I believe that under some circumstances that there are that first and second reading is held, and then we do not hold the third reading, regardless of the support that it receives. We always give that month, and that's certain statutory situations, correct? Good. Okay. All right. So knowing that, we're moving into the bylaw section of this, which we're going to 11A, which is zoning bylaw amendment for 3609 County Road 21, Zanderland Incorporated, which is on the behalf of the Malcolmson family for third and final reading. So passed not unanimously at first and second reading, delayed until this meeting because of not passing, and it passed 4-1, but here we are for third and final. So Councillor Ward, can you bring that forward?
Pretty much said it all when you're using it, but I moved by myself and secondly by council. That's okay, Councillor Whitesdale. That a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw number 2022-37, Zanderland Inc. on behalf of David and Pamela Malcolmson, part of lots 35 and 36, concession 6, 3609 County Road 22, be now read a third time and finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 2023-03.
Thank you very much. So finally, getting to the end of the zoning bylaw change for this property. Are there further comments regarding the bylaw before we move it along? Anyone?
Okay, I'll go. Through the chair, I voted against this last meeting. I'm going to vote with the majority tonight. I really still have some reservations about the precedent and the way this rolled out. And nothing else. I hope that everyone in the room can use the situation, be a little more vigilant in the future when we see something like this about to happen. That's it.
Well worded. Well said. I think the only thing that I will say is I appreciate the work by everyone involved in getting this to a conclusion, much like what you're saying. I think the group certainly took into consideration the will of not expanding the footprint of the buildings any further, but allowing them to still operate the business during half load season and to make less trips to the farm to support wood or to move wood to there by giving them a little bit larger area to store that product without creating the building. So I think well done all around on a tricky little issue. And I think coming out of it is something that we can all live with. So further comments or questions? Hearing none, I will call the question on third and final reading then. All in favor? Unanimous. So we are moving on to item B, which is the interim tax bylaw. It may take me a while to get there on my iPad. So I think in the meantime, I will go to Deputy Mayor Dillabaugh if you can introduce and bring that to David.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself and seconded by Mr. Martel that the move would be granted to me to introduce the bylaw to authorize the interim tax levy in advance of adoption of the tax rates of 2023, and this shall consist the first and second reading thereof.
All right, first and second reading of the interim tax levy, and I will just ask staff before we go any further on this. This gives the corporation the ability to charge 50% of last year's tax levy for the first bill, and then whatever the result of budget is gets applied to the August or the second bill. Am I correct in that understanding?
The chairman is correct.
Okay, good. So 50% of last year's number for the first bill, and whatever the small increase will be realized on the second portion. So first and second reading. I'll call the question. All in favor? Unanimous. You can proceed to third reading.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself and seconded by Mr. Ward that the bylaw to authorize the interim tax levy in advance of adoption of the tax rates for 2023 be now read the third time. Finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 2023-09.
Right, we'll get the tax bills out on last year's. Good. Comments, questions? Anyone seeing nothing at all? I will call the question then. All in favor? Unanimous again. Good work, guys. All right, so first and second reading of the procedural bylaw. Councillor Chris Ward, you have that item in front of you. Do you have that?
Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Waddy Smale that the mover be granted leave to introduce a bylaw to govern the proceedings of council and committees of council, and that this shall constitute the first and second reading thereof.
Thank you, Councillor Ward. Certainly been strongly debated over several meetings and discussed and brought back, and we definitely made some changes, some that will increase transparency, openness. I believe it's worth noting, the clerk can correct me if I'm wrong, that we will be instituting a closed session recording policy as part of this as well, in case of the need, that those, not just the minutes, but what happened in those meetings ever needs to be looked at. I think it's, this group up here should be proud. I know this is only first and second reading. They should be proud of their willingness to address, mandates that we all talked about: openness, transparency, and making sure we were accountable to those that we govern for. So well done for all of adding that one to this. Before I call the first and second question or question for the first and second reading, does anyone else have further comments or any discussions to have on this item?
You checked off most of the things that I was going to say, actually, and then some other ones, so you did more than I was going to say. But I also, I went through this a few times over the weekend, and I just want to say that I think the clerk and whoever else was involved did a good job of documenting everything we talked about, and they captured it well. I didn't see any concerns that jumped out at me, so good job.
Fantastic. Further comments, anyone else? I think I will take this opportunity to echo Councillor Ward on staff's willingness to listen and guide us to help us achieve the goals that we had set out for the procedural changes that we have. There are a few. They're nothing. I don't believe that there's anything drastic in there, but certainly, willingness to report every meeting, to make sure that we added the court management committee to a reporting policy, to bring closed sessions recorded as well. It just opens, it's something that we all talked about. I want to compliment staff on understanding the changes that we felt needed to be made to achieve that mandate, which is openness, transparency, and accountability for the group that sits up here year after year. So thank you for the work that you did. Having said that, I will call the question on first and second reading unless there's more discussion. Hearing none, all in favor? Good. And we will see third reading at the March meeting, correct? All righty. So we are on item B, I believe, which is the Integrity Commissioner appointment, and that is Councillor Smith.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Chris Ward. The mover be granted leave to introduce a bylaw to appoint and establish position and duties of the Integrity Commissioner of the Township of Edward Cardinal, and this shall constitute first and second reading thereof.
First and second reading on appointing our Integrity Commissioner, and I don't believe that it has his name in there. Is there? It just says to appoint the position and the duties of the Integrity Commissioner. Should we have his name in there?
Chair, you're more than welcome to add it. Typically under bylaws, we actually go with bylaw heading, but you're able to.
As long as it doesn't need to be, I believe the motion as it is. As long as it doesn't need to be amended to include his name. I believe it's Mr. Fleming, correct? We didn't have the opportunity to meet Mr. Fleming at our United Counties training seminar, but we did meet somebody, I forget their name, Mr. Monday, from their firm. The firm that they represent, Mr. Fleming, represents it's a lot of municipalities across Ontario. I forget the number, 70. That's the number that was in my head too. 70 municipalities across Ontario as the Integrity Commissioner, certainly well versed and fantastic at this job. So I will hopefully we don't get to meet him. I will call the question on first and second reading. All in favor of appointing the bylaw to proceed to third reading?
Thank you, Mayor. Moved by myself and seconded by Chris Ward that the bylaw to appoint and establish the position and duties of the Integrity Commissioner of the Township of Edward Cardinal be now read a third time and finally passed, signed, sealed, and number 2023-10.
All right, further comments, questions on appointing the Mr. Tony Fleming for the Integrity Commissioner? Hearing none, I will call I will call the question. All in favor? That was like question favor all at the same time. Uh-oh, it's about to go sideways. We did well till now. All right, so we are at the. Oh, we got through the serious stuff then. We are on item E, which is the Cardinal water and wastewater systems estimates and rates. I believe Councillor Martel, you have that bylaw in front of you.
Moved by myself, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stephen Dillabaugh, that the mover be granted leave to introduce a bylaw to amend bylaw 2013-69 to impose water and wastewater rates for users of the Cardinal water and wastewater system. And this shall constitute first and second reading thereof.
Thank you, Councillor Martel. All right, first and second reading well, put the rates together before. Now we'll impose the rates. There's no changes, if I'm correct. Again, I said this earlier, there were no changes to the rates, just the levy increase, right? $1 for water, $1 for wastewater. Correct. Okay, so first and second reading. I will call the question then. Did you have a question, or are you just jumping down a little?
Flavor.
All in favor? Unanimous. You can proceed to third reading.
Moved by myself, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stephen Dillabaugh, a bylaw to amend bylaw 2013-69 to impose water and wastewater rates for users of the Cardinal water and wastewater system. Be now read a third time and finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 2023-11.
Thank you very much. So this will impose the rates. No different, no change, just as we said earlier, once this is passed, put those rates in until budget next year, which is the $1 levy increase, which will help support the future investment in keeping the system running and stable. So if there is no further comment or question on the rates, I will call the question. All in favor? Yes, you guys are on our street. All right, so now we are on the Spencerville sewer system estimates and rates, and Councillor Chris Ward, you have that in front of you.
Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Waddy Smale, that the mover be granted leave to introduce a bylaw to adopt the estimates and impose sewer rates for users of the Spencerville sewer system. This shall constitute the first and second reading thereof.
Thank you very much. First and second reading, questions, comments, concerns on first and second reading? All right, I'll call the question then. All in favor? All right. So we can proceed to third.
Okay. Moved by myself and seconded again by Councillor Waddy Smale, that a bylaw to adopt the estimates and impose the sewer rates for users of the Spencerville sewer system be now read a third time and finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 2023-12.
Thank you very much. Councillor Ward, comments, questions, anyone? No, to the CAO, I just had one small one, and we noticed it. Did we find the right one? Sorry, may not be in the right one. My apologies. There was a small discrepancy between the revenue line of the 2022 and the 2023, right? We figure out what that discrepancy was.
Through the chair, yes. In 2022, we did a recalculation of how many units were available, and the 150,207 was the correct number. So the budgeted number was too high.
Okay, and so just for understanding, then, so the fee of the Spencerville system stays the same. Everything stays the same. There's no changes to it at all. Just that line item needed to be reflected different.
Correct.
Okay, good. That's good news. So no change. This is third and final reading, but no change to the cost for the users for that system. So if there are comments or questions at all, hearing none, I will call the question then. All in favor? Good. And we are on to amend bylaw 2022-18, the New Wexford Industrial Park water distribution system estimates. Councillor Smale.
Thank you.
You have first and second.
Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Chris Ward, that the mover be granted leave to introduce a bylaw to amend bylaw 2022-18 to impose water rates for users of the water distribution system in New Wexford County Road 2 and the Johnstown Industrial Park. This shall constitute first and second reading thereof.
All right, so first and second reading, comments, questions before we proceed to third reading. Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Unanimous. You can proceed to third reading.
Thank you, Mayor. That a bylaw to amend bylaw 2022-18 to impose water rates for the users of the water distribution system in New Wexford County Road 2 and Johnstown Industrial Park be now read a third time and finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 2023-13.
Very much. Councillor Ward, Councillor Smale. Third and final reading. Any comments, questions on the Wexford and Industrial Park water system? Nothing. Again, we'll just back to staff just for clarity. Again, no increase to this rate at all this year either as well, correct? Good. Just for the record, I will call third and final reading then. All in favor? Good, unanimous. We will take this opportunity to thank our staff, our environmental services staff, our treasurer for the great work that they do both on these systems and on these budgets and keeping this as tight and as well as it is. You know, the only place that we're realizing any increase at all is on an aging system that needs infrastructure to it. So well done to you, Gord, and to you, Eric, on your staff. Fantastic work. Good job. And as well. All right, so item H then is the port terms of reference and to appoint the new committee members. So Deputy Mayor Dillabaugh, I believe you have. Go ahead.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Ward that the mover be granted leave to introduce the bylaw, establish terms and references, and appoint members to the Port of Johnstown Management Committee. And this shall constitute the first and second reading thereof.
All right, so terms of reference for the Port of Johnstown, first and second reading. Any discussion, any further comments at the table for terms of reference? Good. Okay. All in favor? All right, we can proceed to third reading.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Ward that the bylaw to establish terms and reference appoint members to the Port of Johnstown Management Committee be now read a third time and finally passed, signed, sealed, and number 2023-14.
Thank you very much for comments. Certainly a well discussed, you know, changes to the terms of reference and a good solid discussion, a great group of folks that we had apply for positions to be on the Port Management Committee. If there are comments or questions regarding that, before
just echoing what you said there about you know, we want to thank everybody who put their names forward. We had a broad variety. We were able to capture, I think, several skill sets which we were seeking, but thank you all, everybody who put in work for sure. So appreciate that.
Yes, and to staff, is it appropriate if I name the committee members? Can I do that? Can I do that after I call the vote, or yeah, it's appropriate if we do that? Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, to our clerk, do we send out thank you letters to the people who applied and was unsuccessful?
Just following council confirming the appointments, I reach out to those that are successful in informing them of their appointment, as well as those that were not successful for their expression of interest.
Good, thank you.
Yeah, that's a great question, because we certainly well, I'll say that after. So third reading. Further comments or questions on terms of reference and committee appointments? Hearing none. All right, all in favor? Unanimous. Great point the deputy mayor just made. I think, you know, and we certainly as a council didn't have the opportunity to appoint committee members in our last term. That is one thing that has changed to this group. It takes the entire group to choose. It's been an interesting task trying to choose those members. But I can say this: we had an amazing amount of people, residents, apply for those positions. I think for one of the committees it was 13. I'm not sure how many it was for the port management committee, but it was a good number. It was a good number as well. It's fantastic that there's so much interest in that residents want to do that. And to echo the deputy mayors, not only the folks that were successful, the folks that didn't get chosen, we want to make sure that we say thank you to them because their interest and their passion, and hopefully there'll be an opportunity for them to step up and help us out somewhere along the way. So well done to everyone on that. Moving on to number 12, which is the CAO's administrative update. What I'm going to have Deputy Mayor Dillabaugh do is bring that motion forward. I'll have the CAO give us a high-level presentation of his report, and if there are comments and questions, after from the group after the report is presented, and then we'll call a question to receive this report. So is it yours? I thought it was.
No, it's fine.
Oh, no, it is. Sorry, I had in my notes written wrong. It is Councilor Martel. Sorry.
No worries. Moved by myself, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stephen Doval. The municipal council receives the CAO's administrative report as presented.
All right, to the CAO.
Thank you, Mayor. I guess just to start off, senior management team met with the VFL insurance representatives on February 14th, sort of review risk and claim procedures. I think it was a little over an hour session, and I believe that everybody took something away that we could utilize and tweak improvement. But some of those key points, as typically always are the case, it's communication and documentation are those two main areas that they want to impart on us. With respect to economic development, we met with the Ministry of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade in Newmark on February 13th. It was a productive day, and we anticipate that a report will be coming from Newmark and the ministry. Likely will be end of March, early April 21. We're taking the opportunity to at least provide a letter of support, and subject to a successful grant application, the potential to partner with North Grenville and a few of the private businesses along County Road 44 to sort of look to draw some more residents from Ottawa, instead of taking the 416 route, to potentially taking a more scenic route in touching some of the great smaller businesses that we have along the way. Just not a great deal to report on the subdivisions, but I always like to at least make note when we've had some progress. So we certainly have had a peer review of the detailed design engineering documents for Lockmaster Meadow. We've provided some feedback to the developer on some areas that need adjustment. And with respect to Meadowlands North, we will be meeting with the developer at the end of March to discuss their detailed designs. I guess the other note I'll make on this particular page is with respect to the digital Main Street coordinator position. It has been reposted. They did interview 3 positions, but unable to reach an agreement. And I think with this round, they're going to focus a little bit more on the collaborating with some of the colleges and universities to give a more robust candidate selection. I will note that on the upcoming meeting schedule for March 13th, there will be a 6 p.m. Start with respect to a public meeting for a zoning bylaw amendment to the Cleary, and then subject to the timeline, we'll be starting the administration and operation. Following that, we put in time on 6:15, and if it's if the public meeting is done at that time, we'll proceed. If not, we'll proceed following that. Page 2, Treasury, just to note that the auditors are in today, starting their the final stage of their year-end audit, and I believe the treasurer can correct me, but they'll be here most of the week, they anticipate. Right. With respect under Treasury with the OCIF, just good to note that the final report has been submitted, and under the public sector salary disclosures, that report has also been submitted for those individuals earning more than the 100,000. Under facilities and recreation, I guess a note with respect to the Family Day Skate, there was great turnout with over 100 participating in that free skate of that day. popularity with respect to the art class. We'll be starting another 5-week program in conjunction with the Optimist Club extension bill. Public Works, with respect to that, it has been a challenging winter to say the least, and staff have been working hard at meeting the township needs with respect to the response and cleanup efforts. Under Operations Environmental Services, my note here, I guess we will look at a Windmill Point pumping station. Just a note, the upgrades in conjunction with Greenfield Global and their shutdown still scheduled to take place between April 30th and May 10th. And really this is about double the typical shutdown period, but that will be given enough time to complete those upgrades and get the system started online. Under Operations Municipal Drain, the west branch of that Newport drain has been completed. There's some work to be done in the spring with respect to ditching seeding once the conditions permit that. The East Branch, we will be looking to determine the tender issue in the next few weeks, with likely coming to committee in April and council award at the end of April. Subject to pricing. Fire department, just note that tanker 1 has been received back from the manufacturer and hopefully will be in service in the next couple of weeks. Under fire prevention, the City of Pembroke Fire Department will be working together as part of the small business showcase at the Legal Boyden on March 2nd and 4th. Yes, under other, just a note with the pancake breakfast open house that took place on Saturday. I believe that there was over 300 in attendance, and my understanding is everybody was well fed. And just under emergency management, the program committee will be meeting at some point in March. So we can kick off the 2023 campaign. With that, I'll turn it back over to the mayor if there's any follow-up questions.
All right, so I'm going to open it to committee for questions or comments if anyone has any. That's a work.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I just thank you for the update on the subdivisions. I know we don't have much data, but anything is good to grab onto. And it is encouraging to talk with you. I hope that we can start to between the developers and the township start to capitalize on that. So thanks again for the update and continuing to chase this issue. And the only other thing that was brought to me while we were at the breakfast at the fire station was why was the new truck outside? And I said it was because we don't want to have grubby little fingerprints all over it. So yeah, I think that's probably appropriate. So thank you very much. But yeah.
Further comments or questions for the CAO's report, Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, to the CEO. General insurance 11.47%. Do we have a renewal yet or no way?
So through the mayor signed the authority to bind coverage. We did receive our vehicle renewal slips this morning, and they'll be in place for the March 1st timeline.
So duly chair to the CEO. Is that what we're looking at? 11.5%. There may be a slight adjustment. The only item within that renewal package that hasn't been fully ironed out is with respect to the cyber coverage. Oh, yeah.
So we may see a slight reduction in that percentage of 11.5%, or we may see a slight increase with that.
Yeah. And Mr. Mayor, to the chair, to the CEO. How is work at the township office coming with the insurance adjuster? Has he come up with a figure, or is he close, or are we close?
Through the mayor, it's proceeding a little slower than anticipated, and some of the item that's complicating it is with respect to the adjuster, the contractor, with our engineers in respect to trying to determine scope of work that would be included in sort of reestablishing it versus what the potential end goal of the renovation would be. So hopefully in the next few weeks we'll have a better understanding, and I'll be able to present something back to committee.
That's it.
Good. I just have comment and you know, keeping certainly very busy through the winter. Everything looks good. Lots of valuable information here. Like these reports take a lot of time, but there's certainly a lot going on. So well done to the CAO and to all staff for their continual work. Thanks for the report. So we have a motion on the floor that council receives the CAO's administrative report as presented, moved by Councillor Martel, seconded by Deputy Mayor Delabaugh. Further discussion or comments? No. Question? All in favor?
Good.
So we are on to number 13, which is council inquiries and notices of motion. Does anyone have any inquiries or notices of motion?
I know.
You're going to go a meeting without an inquiry or notice of motion. I am amazed. Okay, and Councillor Smith? No, all right. Hearing none, then we'll move on to the mayor's report. Very brief today. Actually, you want to bring the mayor's report motion on the floor first?
Well, moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Ward. Municipality Council receives the mayor's report as presented.
Thank you. So mayor's report, pretty brief. Before a couple of weeks ago, I said that county's council had gone to committee with a 5.89. Didn't make it out of committee at 5.89. It was increased to 6.89. County's staff has certainly done a good job getting to the point where we are now, and trying to protect the ratepayer in the future for and from further large increases. They're doing the best they can, certainly to keep this number there. There's mixed feelings at the table, and it's certainly going to require a little bit more discussion and debate. There's a mix that would like to see that number come down a little bit. I just don't think that's going to happen. I think they did really well to get it to 6.8. I can't believe I'm saying that, but did really well to get it to 6.89. So next to the fire department, I don't believe Chief Moore is here tonight, but I will say to the fire department and anyone that had anything to do with the pancake breakfast, it was fantastic to have an event like this running again. I love having it inside the fire hall, seeing the fire trucks and getting to connect with the many residents post-COVID. It feels so good to get back out there again. And lastly, this is just a quick reminder to everyone that there is an Optimus fundraiser on Saturday, March the 4th. Drumming Building in Spencerville, and you can see Larry Harper or any other member of the Optimus Club. I think it's going to be a good, fun event in support of the Optimus Club, and that is it for my mayor's report. It's been moved and seconded. Are there any comments or questions at all? Hearing none, then I will ask the question. All in favor? All right, so we are moving on to number 15, which is question period. I don't believe that there's anyone here. There were no questions submitted by media or any member of the public for tonight's meeting. Okay, so then questions period is out. We do have a motion to go into closed session. So I believe that Councillor Chris Ward, you have a motion to go into closed session.
Ordered by myself and seconded by Councillor Whitey Smale. The council proceeds into closed session at 8:37 p.m. in order to address a matter pertaining to A, section 239 2B, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, specifically CAO performance appraisal and minutes of closed session dated January 30th, 2023, special and regular council. And B, section 239 and 3.1, educational or training sessions, specifically conflict training, roles and responsibilities.
Thank you, Councillor Ward. So before we proceed into closed session, there'll be just so everyone knows, there'll be a 5-minute recess once this is passed to go into closed session. We'll take a 5-minute break so that everyone can leave. I believe the only one left will be the CAO for this discussion. So I don't think there's anything else to say in regard to this, unless anyone has a comment or question before I go. Hearing none, all in favor? Good.
Okay, I have a motion moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Whitey that the closed meeting of the municipal council does now adjourn and the open meeting does now resume at 10:27 p.m.
Councillor Ward, call the question. All in favor? Okay, unanimous. And I believe the next item would be reporting out of closed session. So reporting out of closed session, I will report out that council received refresher training on organizational roles and responsibilities in regard to rules of engagement. Council gave direction to the CAO to update agreed upon key performance indicators and priorities for the upcoming review period. And lastly, that council reviewed the special and regular closed session meeting minutes of January 30th, 2023 for errors and omissions. Do I have a mover and a seconder for the motion to receive and approve the minutes? Deputy Mayor, I believe maybe you have that motion?
I got that. Yeah, the close and approved.
Okay. Can you read it?
Yeah. Moved by myself, second by Chris Ward. The municipality council receives and approves the special council, regular council closed session minutes dated January 3rd, 2023.
Good. I'll call the question on the closed session meeting minutes. Does anyone all in favor?
Aye.
Good. Good. So those are dealt with. All right. So that concludes the reporting out of closed session. Following the reporting out of closed session, we should have the confirmation bylaw, I believe. Am I correct, CAO? That's where we're at next. The confirmation bylaw. Councillor Smale, I believe that you have that bylaw.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Moved by myself and seconded by Chris Ward. Bylaw to adopt, confirm, and ratify matters dealt with by resolution be now passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 2023-15.
Thank you, Mr. Warren. All right, discussion. No, there should be no discussion on that. Call the question. All in favor? Unanimous again, and the last one on our agenda is number 19, which is for adjournment, non-debatable motion. Mr. Martel, will you bring that, or
moved by myself, seconded by Deputy Mayor, once known as Councillor Stephen Gillen. The council does now adjourn at 10:30 p.m.
You're amazing, Councillor. So, all right, non-debatable as previously mentioned. So then, all in favor, unanimous. We are adjourned. Well done tonight, gents. Good job.
new goal is no more extensions in 2023.
Oh, there's gonna be another one or two.
Of what?
Meetings.
Oh, this